Herkese merhabalar, ben Esra Kalegindibağ. Türkiye'nin tek dış haber platformu Harici için bir özel röportajla karşınızdayız. Rusya Dışişleri Bakanı Sözcüsü Mariya Zaharova konuğumuz olacak. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
So the first question is about the conflict in Palestine. Actually, while the whole world was watching the Ukraine crisis, now the eyes turned to Israel and Palestine conflict. How do you consider this development, and what do you think about the timing of Gaza's assault, let's say?
So far as timing is concerned, I'll better switch your view to the question why during the 1 year of preparation, as Hamas announced several days ago that they used 1 year to prepare the whole operation, why US, which guaranteed many times security for Israel and the region, never said a word about such a development of situation. Can you believe that the superpower as United States, which has a military base in the region, which have satellites all over the region, which has the best equipment ever, which monitoring the cyber and information sphere, and during 1 year had no information on what is going on and about the preparations for such a huge operation? That is the question, and actually I do have the answer. There was not a chance that United States did not know about this probable development and the preparation for such operation. The question is why they never shared publicly such information, or with whom they shared such an information, and what happened with this information. But I have probably not a direct answer, but an answer. Several years ago, there was a Boston Marathon. Do you recall it? That was a city it is a city in the United States, which usually they hold marathons and people run, etc., etc. And before the explosion, the terrorist attack that happened during Boston Marathon, Russia officially shared with United States information about brothers with the last name Tsarnaev. Those guys, they were originally from Russian Caucasus. They moved to United States, and when Russian officials, Russian special services got the information that they are preparing terrorist attack in United States, within the United States, in US cities, immediately Russia shared this information with United States. Officially in Washington, Russian delegation transfer the materials on this issue. What we received in response? What was the response of United States? They told us, don't worry, we will manage somehow. And they paid no attention to our information, and they let the terrorist attack with Brother Tsarnaev happen. So this is the answer, what is going on and who is responsible.
But this is another theory saying that Hamas is being Daeshized because the attack of Hamas is very complicated, very sophisticated actually, and there might be somebody else behind that. What is your take on this opinion?
I think that the experts and specialists should promote different theories, should take a look, should examine all the details just to have the full picture, but we should understand the major facts. The major facts that there is no military decision of this very long and very complicated story, which lasts more than 75 years. There is a political, a diplomatic solution which is based on international law. There are a huge number of UN Security Council resolution, General Assembly resolution that should be implemented. And Russia always was for implementation of these pieces of international law. But we should be honest with each other and say that during all these times, basically during last years, United States of America did their best, inverted commas, to just destroy all this international law basement for the Middle East solution. The very last thing that they did to make harm to this political solution of the situation was that they blocked the work of international quartet. They did it after February 2022. And they cause it, and they they said that they did it just because of the so-called Russian aggression towards Ukraine, which is absolutely has nothing to do with the Middle East. So why they did block the work of the quartet? Because they always bid on military solution, because they always bid on this so-called chaos, managing chaos, but unfortunately they cannot manage any chaos anymore.
There is only two approaches regarding Israel and Palestine conflict: the Western approach and the Iranian approach.
No.
Do you think that there is an applicable solution? I
No.
mean, in a third path.
I'm not so much deep involved in scientific examination of this issue, but I can assure you that there is a major approach. It's the approach which I was already mentioned, the approach based on the international law. With it's two-state solution. It's based on the international law, and it's based on the beliefs of the people on the fair resolvement of this situation. And this approach, based on international law, should be implemented. And that's what Mr. Putin, the Russian president, yesterday announced as a Russian views and as a Russian view, as a Russian approach to the situation.
Okay, going back to Russia-Ukraine crisis, China has presented a 12-article solution.
Another very suspicious thing which is also connected to the situation, two different situations, but there is some suspicious connections. As you recall, as you remember, it was about probably more than 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, within this month, when United States put on pause their assistance to the Ukraine, the further decisions on ongoing supplies and support of Ukraine.
They suspended.
It's not. They did not suspend, but
reduced.
They put on pause. Not even reduced. They just announced that they should reorganize the supply, and that happened before the situation in Middle East escalated. 2 weeks before the situation in Middle East escalated. This is also very suspicious.
Yeah.
Because now they are making announcement and making statements. They will increase this support and weapon supply to Israel. So to do this and to do so, they should reduce as they announced and as they are explaining right now, they should reduce the support to Ukraine. And they put the support to the Ukraine 2 weeks before the situation in Middle East escalated. So we have so many questions to United States right now regarding the situation in Middle East, because with their involvement in situation in Ukraine, we do not have any questions. It is very clear, it is obvious that the whole situation was fixed. It was planned by United States, by Britain very long ago, and they were trying to make anti-Russia base in Ukraine in all meanings of this word: military, humanitarian, political meaning of this word. And so they made lots of provocations, they changed regimes in Ukraine just to prepare for the main idea of creating anti-Russian or Russophobic base in Ukraine. But for this situation in Middle East, there are so many questions that should be answered by Washington. what they were doing the whole year, why they did not share information, what information they've got, etc., etc. They should not crying or just making tears. I don't believe in their tears, even in one drop. I do not believe. When I saw yesterday guys from different state organizations, officials making tears publicly, I don't believe them. I do not believe them. They did have 1 year, as Hamas announced they were preparing during 1 year, to share the information they've got, where they were with all this information and with all these datas and all these details. And I do recall the situation with Boston Marathons, that the Washington had all the playing cards in their hands and on the table, and they never used it. And after Boston Marathons, they used and spent so many words of so-called support for the people, of condolences for the people. But before the terrorist attack, they did know, they did have all this information, and they never shared with people, and they never protected people. And so many questions now go to Washington.
So do you think that this crisis in the Middle East now will strengthen your hand in the Ukraine front?
Oh, we're not making some such conclusions or such connections. We do have the situation in Ukraine, and we will manage with it. I can assure you.
Yeah, last
Believe
question.
me.
Yeah, my last question is about China and its mediation efforts. So presented a 12-article position document on Russia-Ukraine crisis. Do you find China's solutions applicable or
we
productive?
are very grateful for each and every country, each and every politician or civil society representative who or which bring their ideas to the table how to resolve politically the situation in Ukraine. Especially we're grateful for China. They made a special position for the mediator. They call it mediator or special representatives. We are very, very grateful. But the reality is that Zelensky himself forbidden for himself to promote any sort of peaceful negotiations with Russia. And he did it by law. He did it under US pressure, so he just tightened his hands with not moving forward with peaceful solution, peaceful agreement, or diplomatic negotiations. So it's not the problem of Russia, it's not the problem of mediators, it's a problem of Ukraine, Kiev regime, and United States of America.
So I think only Turkey will keep on staying the only mediator between Ukraine and Russia, most probably.
But the problem is not with mediators or number of mediators or their plans. The problem is that Kiev regime, Zelensky, forbidden for themselves to promote and to hold any sort of negotiations, peaceful negotiations with Russia. And this is the dead end for them.
Yeah, Mariya Zaharova, thank
you
very much.